Hello, everyone, and welcome to another DUALpreneur Virtual Mastermind. My name is Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money, and I am your host and the founder of DUALpreneur. You know what? If you have a full-time or part-time job and you have an entrepreneurial venture, or if you are addicted to the direct deposit like me, or you feel like you can keep your benefits and build your business too, boo, that makes you an awesome dualpreneur, and we honor and value you. And the purpose of these masterminds is to give you the tools that you need to succeed. Hashtag keep dualpreneurs in business. And even though we're giving you information on how to build your business, we also want to make sure we provide you with information about what you're using at your job, and that can benefit you in your business as well. Case in point, if you have a 401k at your job, or you want to start a 401k at your job, this is the mastermind to really listen to the expert, because you should be taking advantage of the free money and all that, but there could be a catch there. Or what could you do, or what other options are there as an entrepreneur that you want to consider? Or even as an employee, what do you want to consider? So, I had to go into my arsenal of my friends and call my boy Sam Gisyer, aka Sam Gisyer, to really talk about this. We go way back. We go way back at Fulton
Yeah,
County, Georgia. Getting people signed up.
right.
We go way. We did our dues. We put in the sitting in the classes for hours and learning. And we knew each other on social media for a while, and then we met when we got into the benefits arena. And we hit it off like we do with social media. It was like I knew, like, my big brother. I kind of knew him for already, and then we got a chance to work together, and we just maintained that relationship. That's got to be almost 10 years, almost a decade ago, if not a decade ago.
Yeah, you
Wow.
aging us now, so be careful.
I know, right? Whatever. You're old. I'm not. I'm just reverse. But Sam, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Really, not just look at our business and how to grow our business, but look at where we are as far as our employment and our investment options and what we're doing and what we should be taking advantage of, and consider whether we want to have a 401k, whether we have a 401k, and what are those ramifications and some investment options. So I know you're going to share that information, and I'm excited about that. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience, and then just go right into giving us these tips so we can continue to grow and prosper in our employment as an entrepreneurs as well.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Tara. I was really excited when you hit me up about coming on your show, because I do watch and follow your show, and I've been following you since we met many, many years ago. I'm 22 years in financial services. Started out as an investment advisor, managing money, was doing pretty well, managing about $25–30 million. 3 years into the business. So I was Series 7 licensed, trading everything, commodities, options, stocks, working with money managers and all that kind of stuff, right? Then about the middle part of my career, I just realized there was an empty feeling there, because my mission was to help as many people as possible. At that level, I was only helping a certain amount of people. So I switched gears and designed the business that I really wanted, which is educating people on, what their options are in different areas of financial products and services. So you guys see the title there says the ticking tax time bomb. I'm really passionate about that, because, and thanks for using the word bamboozle, because we have been bamboozled to a certain extent about the 401k. Now, I know a lot of people have been told the 401k is your retirement vehicle and all of that. So this is merely to educate. People get upset when you go against things that they deem to be true and factual. There's nothing on the surface wrong with the 401k. Here's the problem, though. When we look at what this country is doing and how it's managing its debt or lack thereof, that's the problem when it comes to the 401k and qualified retirement accounts. We're right now at $24 trillion with a capital T in fiscal debt. That's not your problem, though. Your main problem is the unfunded liabilities, $144 trillion. Why should that matter to me, Sam? Because The government gets revenue from where? Us, from taxes, right? Taxation. We're historically at a low tax rate right now, 37%. Okay, historically low. The historical average is 57%. Now, what upsets me is when I meet a client that has an advisor that's telling them, oh, you're going to retire and you're going to pay a lower tax bracket in retirement. You're going to take out 4% of your portfolio. That does not work anymore, ladies and gentlemen. And the fact that there's all that debt out there that the government has to pay for, tax is going to have to go up, or this country is going to go bankrupt. So they're going to have to get that money from us. There's trillions of dollars sitting in 401ks, and that those taxes are deferred, and the IRS is waiting to get their money because they didn't take it from you at the beginning. They're waiting later on to get that money. So taxes are going to have to go up. You're going to be possibly, because I can't predict the future, in a higher tax bracket in retirement than you were when you were working. So you're paying more in taxes means less income coming off of those 401k plans. Okay, kind of make sense? Okay, so that's what I'm all about, is trying to get people to move from that taxable retirement situation to a 0% tax-free income situation. There's some strategies out there that are not new. I wish I could say, hey, I invented this or whatever, but that's not me. There's some people that are way smarter than I am that are utilizing these strategies and also trying to get this information out to as many people as possible so you can avoid that train wreck that's going to happen when it comes to retirement and taxation. That's my main grab with the 401k. I don't really offer them anymore. My career as an investment advisor, I used to set them up for companies. So I know how they work and know what they do and all that, but there's no way around avoiding that taxation that's going to hit you like a freight train, and you thinking you're going to have all this money in the bank. Right now we're at 37%, right? And typically, the only way you can lower that tax bracket is you have a lower annual income, right? So you change tax brackets. Well, who wants to do that in retirement? You guys are DUALpreneurs for a reason. You're trying to set yourself up for a nice, comfortable retirement so you can do whatever you want to, and it takes money to do that. That's not going to happen going down the trajectory that a lot of people are going with the qualified accounts. You want me to keep going, Tara?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and one of the other things there's a disconnect when I'm talking to people, because we kind of, and it's on purpose, I believe. We forget that the government money, government spending, that's our money. We should really be speaking up about that. We the people are the government. We are paying into the government's bank account, so to say, so they can spend. So whenever I hear them spending about or sending money to XYZ country and all that, we have all these problems over here with debt and homelessness and all that, it should spark a nerve with people, but there's a disconnect there. And I think that's on purpose. Then we got politicians in here just pushing the issue to the side, down the road, so to say, so they don't have to worry about it. They're just waiting on future generations to worry about it. But now is the time in this low interest rate environment to start moving your retirement money over into vehicles that are going to give you that 0% or close to 0% tax income as much as you possibly can. One of the main ones we're using for that is a Roth IRA. So it's a different concept, right? Instead of putting money pre-tax, you're putting it after tax. Listen, you want to adopt the mindset of paying tax on the seed, not the harvest. You're going to pay more tax on the harvest. When you use that Roth IRA, that money is growing tax-free, you take it out tax-free. I'm sorry, it's growing tax-deferred and you take it out tax-free. The biggest plan that we use for this 0% Power of Zero tax bracket is called the Life Insurance-Based Retirement Account. Guys, when the 401k was first introduced, it wasn't the only regulation that the IRS came out with to help with pension plans. And the pension plan was the best retirement plan out there. We don't see them anymore, and we definitely don't see them the way they were first initially devised. Our grandparents or great-grandparents, they really had a great pension that they retired, they were able to, still do what they wanted to do. Those are long gone. So when the 401k came out, all of these other plans came out with it. It was designed to supplement the pension. By the way, the pension, which is the only thing that can give you a guaranteed income stream for the rest of your life, is a life insurance product. It was an annuity. That's what pensions are. So all these other programs, along with the 401k, were designed to supplement the pension. Somebody got a wild idea. You know what? We're going to do away with the pension because it's a liability for the company. So they sent out this memo that most people didn't get, that we're not taking care of you anymore. We don't care if you work for us 20, 30, 40 years. You know, you're on your own. So we're now moving over towards this consumer-defined benefits scenario where you got to take care of it. So we introduced the 401k. You got to manage the 401k. You got to pick your mutual funds, and you got to decide on what you want to do with it. A lot of people didn't get that memo. We talk to people on a daily basis that, you know, had in their 401k, and they're in fixed accounts. So they're not earning anything in the 401k. Why? Because the HR departments no longer educate employees on that. So all that money is just sitting there growing. I mean, it's nightmare stories that we hear, and people think they're going to have all this money during retirement, and they're not even properly funded inside that 401k, or allocated, I should say, inside that 401k the right way. It's a whole mess. But all people know they have as a job is, oh, start your 401k. We got the match. The only way we have a conversation about the 401k, if you have a decent match with your company, go ahead and take that match. But we want to have as little as possible in that bucket. It's about 3 buckets of money we're going to talk about. The first is that taxable bucket, where everything you invest in that bucket is taxable. Your CDs, your mutual funds, what have you, that's all taxable. Really, you want to have as little as possible in that bucket, okay? And some experts say you should have 6 to 8 months of emergency funds in that bucket. That's where that money should be kept. The second bucket is your 401k, your tax-deferred bucket. Your 401ks, your SEP IRAs, your simple IRAs, you know, your 403bs, they're in that second bucket of tax deferral. You want to be careful there because you don't want to stockpile a lot of money in there based on what I just told you about the tax train coming, the tax time bomb coming to erode all of that money in that 401k. Even though I'm harping on taxes and everything, there's an even bigger issue which comes to fees. Fees are really, a lot of people don't realize the average fees for mutual funds range from 3.4 to about 5.6%. And it's tearing up those 401ks, even though it's a tax deferred scenario. The third bucket is which we're trying to show people how to get to is that tax-free bucket. And there's only 2 ways to do that. I already mentioned the Roth IRA and a permanent life insurance policy that has the IRS regulations attached to it that allows that policy to grow money tax deferred and you take it out tax free. And with it being a life insurance policy, it has more benefits than just giving you a tax free bucket of money that you can use for retirement. Okay. Do we have any questions so far, Tara? I just want me to keep going.
No, I don't have any questions. You know, of course I know this, but I'm sure you're going to get into it that when there's, you know, the life insurance portion of it and how to use that as an investment tool. And I'm really big on using life insurance while you're still alive. There's a way to leverage life insurance while you're still alive. It's not about death insurance. It's not about death all the time. It has a death benefit, but the life insurance, if you get the right one, it's to leverage your lifestyle while you're still alive and protect your family in the event of your death. And so when you look at life insurance like that, you realize that it's not really something scary to talk about. It can be something really excited to talk about because now you are adding to that investment, that tax-free investment portal or that, you know, bucket that will ultimately protect your family in the future, that can fund your retirement and can have some living benefits if you get sick. So I know that you're going to go into that, but you are the expert today. So I want you to go ahead and share some information.
You pretty much just did. So we're not talking about our grandparents, you know, $15,000 term policy or whole life policy. Actually, we don't really focus on those. We focus on what Tara just mentioned. Those living benefits are huge because let's face it, a lot of people are getting sick prematurely. a lot of people are living a long time on a chronic illness or a critical illness. You can tap into that policy to pull out a stream of income so you can worry about getting better and well instead of worrying about losing your home or how you're going to feed yourself and the family. So it's more than one benefit of just a tax-free cash flow that it generates for you. You got the death benefit that's going to also generate these living benefits that you can use right here, right now, if you so need them. Also, you don't have to wait for those funds to access them during retirement. Something major happens up, some kind of financial emergency, you can pull money out of it for that as well. So it's a life insurance policy. When we use those words, people get scared. Oh, it's only going to kick in when I die kind of mentality. But this policy is different. You have all these features that you can access and use while you're still here. And guess what? When you do pass away, you can leave a nice legacy to your family. Okay, even after you pull out, you know, whatever you need to pull out for before retirement, even when you pull out your retirement income, it's designed first and foremost as a life insurance policy. So by default, it has to have a death benefit to it. So you can pull out tons of retirement tax-free income. You have a sickness or illness, you can use the living benefits portion of it, and it just keeps chugging along and doing this thing for you.
That's awesome. Absolutely. So, now, you know, when I still am a licensed insurance agent, I don't sell it anymore, but I keep my licenses to help educate. And I know that there are several different options out there as far as life insurance is concerned to leverage the retirement savings side of it as well as the living benefits side. And talk a little bit about the differences between the whole life. I know a lot of people are familiar with whole life, the variable the variable life insurance products, and then our favorite, you love it, hate it, whatever, the index universal life products. And you know, I'll share what my perspective is on each of those, but share a little
Okay.
bit about the differences and how you can leverage them, because a lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to put this money in a life insurance, and then if I take the money out, I'm not going to have a death benefit. And that's not the case as well.
No.
So
Right.
go ahead and share a little bit about what the difference. We kind of know what the term is. Term is like renting an apartment. You pay
Mm-hmm.
into it for a certain amount of time for your lease, and then when your lease is up and the rent goes up, you can leave or you can renew the lease. But you know, once that lease is ended, you know, you either have to move or you have to re-up it. So, but there's a difference between the whole life, the permanent, and the variable, as well as the index.
Correct. So whole life is for your whole life. Okay. Typically, they in what's called endow at age 100. Some of them will go over 100, not many. They'll typically go to age 120 or 121 if you're so blessed to live that long. But typically, they last to age 100. They have a guaranteed interest rate attached to them. So that's how they are crediting the account with interest. Okay. You have that life insurance death benefit. Now, you might have heard of whole life because a lot of people utilize certain whole life policies for that concept of uh, making your own bank. But you got to have the right policy to make that happen, and it has to be structured the right way. I think from my last research, there's a couple of companies that do that extremely well. I don't really utilize that strategy, that product for that strategy, but that's what the whole life can be used for. Also, when we walk around here and people selling these burial plans, those are whole life policies, but they're the lower death benefit of 10, 15, up to $35,000 or so. That's a whole life policy as well, because it's designed to last the whole life of the person getting it or the insured individual. Then we go into the next stage. If you look at the evolution of the life insurance policy, term, whole life, then we get into variable life. I'll just keep on the same uh, vein that you said, Tara. Variable life gets a little bit interesting. So it's still a life insurance policy, but now what they've done is added what's called the sub accounts. They're mutual funds. Okay, so now you have access to invest into the stock market with those variable accounts, but there's some risk involved with those, right? I haven't even discussed a variable life insurance policy since probably 2006, 2007. There's still a couple of companies that offer those, a couple of A-rated companies, by the way. but I really don't offer those as well. Now, the next one is the individual index universal life insurance policy, which is my one I'm talking about all the time because of all the benefits, and we can do so much for different scenarios when we structure those policies. So with that policy, again, you still have the pure life insurance there, right? But now you have access to the market via an index. You have access to the market, but you're not in the market. How do they do that? They're utilizing options. I'm not going to get too technical with the options, but they're going out and they're buying options. When they have a return on those options, they're crediting you a portion of that return, okay? And if they lose money on the options, you get something called a 0% return. That's what we call the power of zero. So if you picture being in the market, when the market goes down, you're realizing that negative return for that year. With this program, you're not. That zero is saving you from ever having a negative return, and also it's locking in that gain for the year. When you're in the market, the only way you can lock in the gain if you sell the shares or sell the mutual fund. That's why this thing is in that bucket we call the safe money bucket, okay? But it's giving you a whole lot more return than other safe money investors would give you. So that's my take on all three of those, Tara. I'm interested to hear yours.
Okay, so I have experience in all three, and I can sell all three. I can kind of convince anyone to get either one. But I'm going to give you my truths on all three. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the whole life, you're absolutely right. It's like mortgaging your home, right? You pay a mortgage, and some of that mortgage goes to the insurance and interest, and the other portion goes to your principal. And the more you pay on the mortgage, the more goes to principal over time. So that's the same thing with a whole life policy. You have your premium, and then you have some money that's going to go to the maintenance of the policy, and then you're going to have some that's going to go to the actual insurance policy, and then you're going to have some money that goes into what's called your cash value, or your principal, if you will. And the longer you have the policy, the more money goes into that principal, so you can grow it over time. So a whole life policy is not something that you want to tap into within the first 2 to 5 years. That's not that type of policy. It is something where, it's a great tool to use for college savings, right? You have a child, the child is born, you get a policy on them immediately because there's no health reviews on them. You get it while it's really cheap, and you pay $100 a year or whatever. That's going to go into your cash value. So when it comes time, when they reach 18, 21, there's going to be a stack of cash there. You can use it towards their college. You can use it towards, whatever. The great thing about having the cash value is that you don't have to have a specific reason to use the money, versus if you use college savings funds, it has to go to college either for the child or for a designee. So the life insurance fund, you can use it to start a business. You can use it for down payment on their home. You can do it for their first car, whatever. So, I have a client that used to use those whole life policies. He purchases them when they're children. When they get to 16, that's how he buys his first car. He was able to send his child overseas, and that's how he uses it, because he builds the bank of that child, or the bank of you, right, with that cash value. So it's a great safe tool, because it's almost like a savings account that gives you a higher yield in the interest, because it's not based on the market. And then if you get a mutual type of company, like a mass mutual, or a mutual just means that the policyholders own the insurance company, right? They usually have the name mutual in there somewhere to say that. They give dividends. So not only are you getting the interest on the savings of the policy, but you're also getting dividends. So if they do well, you do well. Similar to stock markets. You want to get into stock with a company that also provides dividends, right? So that is a whole life policy. The next one is the variable policy. I call that a term policy for life. Well, no, what's the other one? Not the variable. What is the other one? Universal. It's universal life.
Universal.
The universal life is I call it a term policy for life, right? So that insurance could go up over time as you get older, but you're building the cash value. And they're giving you a premium that's like midstream, right? So if you're 100, it's going to cost you $300. But if you're, 21, it's going to cost you $20. They're going to find a number in the middle. You pay 150 or so. And so that premium is to not only build cash value, but it's to pay the premium for when you get older and your premiums are higher later on. That's why I do not like universal life policies, because people treat it as a whole life policy, take the cash out, and then they get a statement saying, oh, your policy is now $300 a month, and they lapse on it. So I would not recommend that. Your variable universal life is the same process, but that money, instead of going into a savings account, goes into an investment tool. This is good if you want to start playing in investments or whatever. You can try this, but I would say work with an insurance advisor or an investment advisor for that. But there's been a lot of people that got burnt for that, because if the market crashes, it wipes out your cash value. Now you're stuck with having to pay the increase in premiums. So you want to be very careful with those. And like Sam mentioned, I don't even promote or whatever. Universal Life's never really got into it. It's for a specific type of person that's very disciplined and understand what that policy is. Now the index universal life, I can play it on, I can sell you on it and I can sell you off of it. But like Sam says, the ideal of it is that you're putting money in the market, so you're taking advantage of the win of the market, but zero is hero. If the market crashes, you just don't earn any money, right? So the market's been crashing, it's been falling, 1,000 points, 3,000 points, whatever. So a lot of people in their 401ks are getting hit and they're losing money in their 401ks. Those that have the index universal life, they're not losing the money, they're just not making any interest on it. So it's almost being in a savings account, not earning any interest. But when the market goes back up, they're going to be able to take advantage of the upswing of the market. And the great thing for that is that you're always going to earn, you're going to usually earn more interest and possibly dividends in an index universal life policy than you were in a standard savings account, right? So you want to look at it in a perspective of how much money do I want to earn in the future? What do I want to have in the future? And is a savings account going to do it? Am I ready for the stock market? Or do I want something where I'm playing along with the market, but not really being affected by a negative downturn of the market? And again, you need to talk to professionals like Sam Gisyer or Gisyer, whichever way you want to say it, to help educate you on your options, because there are some clients that I will not present an IUL or index universal life to them. It's not for everyone. There are some people that just aren't ready for a whole life policy. They're not mentally ready and they're not financially ready or disciplined for a whole life policy, because they'll want to dip into it too soon. Or once they dip in it, they want to lapse it. And then once you lapse it and you take that money out, now you're going to be taxed on that money. So you got to be very, very careful with those things. But there's so many different options, especially, and this is my last point, especially with dualpreneurs and entrepreneurs, right? So if you don't have a 401k, you can relatively use an IUL or a whole life policy to help save for your future as far as retirement is concerned. You don't necessarily have to be in the market. It may be beneficial. And right now, I believe getting in the market is good because everything's on sale. And if you can not look at the market every single day and all the bad news, and you get up as much as you can, the market is eventually going to go back up. But I believe in diversification of your portfolio. So you have some in the market, you have some in bonds and safety, and then you have some in life insurance. Most millionaires, they do not die and use people to bury them with their own money. They use OPM. They use other people's money to put in the ground so they can give their family all of their cash and the trust. Because if you think about how much it's going to cost to bury you, right now, it's going to be, you're either going to burn it up or you're going to put it in the ground. $10,000 at least. That's $10,000 your family could have used to supplement their lifestyle versus, putting it in the ground. But again, life insurance is not just about the death aspect. It is all about the living benefits. It's life insurance. What are you going to do with your life insurance while you're alive, and have a plan with it? Woo, that's my soapbox. Sam, he looks like he looks like he oh, he's coming back on. But that's really all I have to say about that. If you have questions about life insurance, it's very important that you think about that. Like the life and the life insurance, and you talk to a life insurance agent or an investment advisor that will educate you. Don't keep going to these people that just want to sell you a product, right? Because even when I was selling life insurance, there's a lot of people that came to me and they told me what they wanted. They told me, look, I want one of them IULs. My cousin got an IUL. I want one of those. And it just wasn't a good fit. So I wouldn't sell them the product. I talked them out of it because I know that's what you want, but ultimately it's not going to be a good fit for your situation. It may have been good for Nana and them, but it's just not right for you. So you need to find someone that's going to be honest with you about life insurance investments and not just try to sell you a product. Okay. So that's what I have to say about that. But as Sam was saying, this is the time, you know, the 401ks, he's absolutely right. We're at the lowest part of our, you know, tax bracket right now. Taxes are going to go up. They have to. They're giving away all of this money right now. Think about it. The government is giving all of this money right now. Where are they getting the money from? They just printing it? No, it doesn't work that way. People think, oh, they can just print some more. No, that's why there's a debt. there's a debt little cycle there, right? So they have to pay it back. So they're using our money and then they're borrowing money they don't have. So that puts them in debt. And so now they're going to have to pay it back. Well, how are they going to pay it back? Well, we're the ones that fund the government. So they're going to ask us they're not going to ask us for a raise. They're going to take a raise, which means they're going to increase our taxes. And can you imagine being taxed at 50-something%? So you make $50,000, but you're really only going to bring home $25,000 after taxes because they're going to have to pay this money back. So instead of waiting to a tax deferred where you're going to pay more taxes on your money, you need to start putting that money aside somewhere where it's already been taxed at the lower tax bracket. And then you can take the money out later with no taxes because you've already been taxed on it. So you have to think strategically when you're talking about your future, not just as an individual and employee, but as an entrepreneur as well. You don't want to have to pay more taxes because you're going to be making all of this money as an entrepreneur. You're going to increase your tax bracket. You're working, you get that salary, and as a dualpreneur, now you have your business and you're going to start making more money. That's going to leap you to a new tax bracket. So you want to be very cognizant of how that affects you. If you don't know, start talking to an accountant. We have accountants in dualpreneur. Start talking to professionals, investment advisors, like Sam, or, you know, insurance agents. Sam is an insurance agent. We have another friend in the community that's insurance agents. So start asking questions about that and how it's going to benefit you. And don't ignore it because time is moving very fast. And you're going to be retired or want to retire sooner than later. And retirement is not a dollar. It's not a number. It's not an age number. It's a dollar amount. How much do you need to be able to retire and do what you want? And then figure out how to get to that dollar amount. So it looks like Sam had some technical difficulties. It's okay. I understand the internet is flaky. But before we go, Michi, my ride or die chick, did you have any questions? I'm trying to unmute you. There you go.
Yeah, my internet has been going in and out too. It's been sketchy today.
Yeah.
No, I need to really look at my insurance policies. It's been a while since I looked at those and just make sure that I have the right products still. And yeah, it's a lot.
That's a very good point, Michi, that, you know, on a regular basis, whether it's annually, you need to do a checkup. You need to review the insurance policies to make sure, one, you have enough as far as coverage is concerned. Two, the beneficiaries. There could have been things, you could have got married, could have had a child, you could have got divorced. There are several things. So you want to make sure those beneficiaries are definitely updated. frequently or on a regular basis, or they stay the same? And then 3, what is the purpose of the life insurance? The life insurance that you got 5 years ago may have been for one purpose, but now you have a family, so it's for another purpose. Or now you really want to start a business, or now you want to create an exit strategy to leave your job. And so what are you going to do? Or you have life insurance just with your job, but you're planning on leaving your job. So if you plan on leaving your job, you're going to need life insurance for when you leave. So you want to have something in place so you don't have to worry about that. Those are things you really need to think about it. And it's one of those things, if you think about it and you set it up, you set it and forget it. That's not something you got to think about again until you just do a review of it. It's like going to your doctor for a physical exam. You know, if you do it right and you say healthy, you don't have to see them for a while, but you want to go for a regular exam to make sure your numbers are in place and that you're healthy. And then after you do your physical exam, then you go about your business. It's the same thing with your money health. You know, we deal with our personal health, but we also have financial health as well that we need to take care of, not just as employees, but also as entrepreneurs, because that's a whole different mindset. An entrepreneur mindset is a whole different mindset than an employee mindset. And so if you're both, if you're an employee, but you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you got to start thinking like an entrepreneur. What if your job, you know, you decide to leave your job or your job decides to leave you? How is your business going to be able to sustain your lifestyle now and 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? Those are things we need to talk about and think about. So that's a very good point, Michi. Thank you for mentioning that we have to review that on a regular basis. Just one, make sure, is it still the same product? Like you have a term policy now, the term is about to end. Do you want another term policy, or do you want to convert that to a whole life policy? And can they convert that for you? You know? So that's definitely a great point. You're so smart.
I'm trying to be.
Cool. And if you all have any other questions, please make sure that you post them below. Sam or myself will answer any questions that you have, either about your 401k, investment options, as well as life insurance and using your life insurance for life while you're still alive. Before we go, Michi, tell everybody about yourself and how they can find you.
Yes, I am Michi Renee. I am an intuitive life and business coach. I help women entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs monetize their skills, gifts, and talent in fun and aligned ways. I am a different type of coach because I use a hybrid approach, life, personal development, inner work, as well as focusing on business aspects. So you're going to get the total package. My tribe is called the Unicorn Tribe. You can find me on social media under UNIKORNTRYBE. Holla at your girl.
Holla. And my name is Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. You may know me as a personal financial expert and commentator on news shows like Al Jazeera, Fox News, and yes, I've been on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show a couple times. Wake Up with Erica Campbell and Griff, and we are going to have Griff coming on soon. But what you probably didn't know is that I help businesses look like Fortune 500 companies online. I have a website company called SRJ Websites, or SRJ Business Solutions, and we believe that every small business should be able to look like a Fortune 500 company online, regardless of their size. And if you'd like to learn more about this or see, talk about your website project, just go to SRJ Websites, SRJ Websites with an S.com, and schedule a consultation. Would love to have a conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining us again. I love you all. There's nothing you can do about it. And come on, Michi, don't forget, y'all, wash them hands. Bye-bye.